Young people are always asking me if they should enlist in the military or go in as an officer. I would never want to make that decision for anyone. But if this is something you are debating, let me give you several factors you absolutely should consider. Timelines and educational requirements. Commitments. Roles and responsibilities, quality of life, and pay. Let's jump into timelines and educational requirements. Enlisted members make up most of the military workforce. They receive training in a job specialty and they do most of the hands-on work. In order to enlist, you have to be 17 years old with a GED or a high school diploma. Non-US citizens can enlist as long as they have their permanent residence card or a green card, and they must speak, read, and write English fluently. Officers make up a much smaller part of the workforce. To join as an officer, you typically must have a 4-year college degree and complete an officer program. There are 5 paths to an officer commission: service academies or senior military colleges, Reserve Officer Training Corps or ROTC, Officer Candidate School or OCS, direct commissions, or enlisted to officer opportunities. There is a third but rare opportunity for joining the military, and that is to come in for Warrant Officer Flight Training. This very selective program is unofficially called From High School to Flight School. Usually, warrant officers are officers who advance from the upper enlisted ranks. They stay in their same career field. A Marine Corps E5 can compete for warrant officer school, and in the Army, Navy, and Coast Guard, you must be an E6. The Air Force does not have warrant officers. Let's move on to commitment. Usually, enlisted service members sign up for 4 years of active duty and 2 years inactive. After you have completed your active duty time, you can either extend your contract or re-enlist if you want to continue serving. Officers accepting ROTC scholarships or appointments at the military academies get 4 years of free tuition at the university and owe 8 years of service upon graduation. Usually, those 8 years of service are 3 years of active duty and 5 years in the individual ready reserve. That's a 12-year commitment, something not to be taken lightly. Roles and responsibilities. The enlisted forces are the most important part of the military. In most cases, enlisted service personnel perform jobs specific to their own occupational specialties, as opposed to the more generalized command responsibilities of commissioned officers. Commissioned officers are the military's managers and highest-ranking leaders. They oversee plans, direct operations, give orders, and command units. Officers have authority over enlisted members. They have broader responsibilities and accountability, but they rely upon enlisted members' technical skills and experience to get the job done. As an enlisted service member, your responsibilities will grow over the years. As a junior officer, you have major responsibilities from day one. Thankfully, junior officers are always paired with a senior non-commissioned officer who can help mold and mentor them. Quality of life. There are several ways to look at the quality of life differences between the ranks. Everything is a matter of perspective, so what may be terrible for me might be great for you. But let's start with stability. For the most part, enlisted members have a bit more job stability. They can stay in the same unit for several years and at the same base for decades. Officers change jobs almost every year and move from base to base on average every 2 years. Career fields. Enlisted service members usually get to work within their career fields. An infantryman will stay in an infantry job for 20 years. An intel analyst will work as an intel analyst her whole career. Officers get to work and do their career fields at the beginning of their careers, and then frequently get branch and material leadership jobs that don't require expertise, just all-around leadership and management skills. Desk jobs. Enlisted service members do a lot more manual labor and work than officers. Officers and some senior NCOs spend a ridiculous amount of time these days on the computer. I was dumb and naive when I joined the Army, and I thought that I would always be doing Army training 5 days a week for 20 years. I thought I would always be outside, doing, working, training. I was totally wrong. During my first platoon leader job in Korea, there were 2 computers in our 100-man company. Our first sergeant had a typewriter. No one had email. Over the next 20 years, it got exponentially worse. As a company commander, my Special Forces company had 50 computers. I finished my career as a staff officer at a TSOC, or a Theater Special Operations Command, where I spent all day, every day in meetings or on a computer like the guys in this photo. So if the thought of having a desk job is unappealing, then don't join the Air Force and don't come in as an officer. Let's finish off with pay. When I joined the military, I had no idea what I was going to get paid. I wanted to serve. Money wasn't even a consideration. Looking back, I was very naive, so I want you to know what you're going to get into. Enlisted men get paid a lot of money. Of course, they deserve more, but in comparison to the rest of the world, you can and will have a very high quality of life. Here is a table I made using the most recent Department of Defense pay table. I took the liberty of adding up all of the pay for a hypothetical enlisted member who served for 20 years and retires as an E8, not counting specialty pay and housing allowances. His salary will give him $848,000 over the course of 20 years. If he never gets another job, but for sure he will, and if he lives for 30 more years, he will collect $761,000 in retirement pay. That is a lifetime of $1.6 million for only 20 years of work. Officers for sure make more money, but money isn't everything. Using the same methodology, we see that an officer with a typical career makes $1.5 million in 20 years and will make an additional $1.3 million during a 30-year retirement. That's $2.8 million during your lifetime for surviving 20 years of service. So if cash is your only consideration, then get a commission. But if you don't want to go to 4 more years of school and you care more about quality of life and doing a job which you enjoy, then by all means, consider enlisting. I served all 20 years and 8 days as an officer and was able to have a lot of time with troops. I was a platoon leader twice, an ODA team leader for 2.5 years. I had 2 company commands. For me, being an officer was a good fit. But the truth is, the discouragement of a desk job in 2 different headquarters during my last 5 years almost killed my spirit. And so I got out the second I could, and I started lifeasaspecialoperation.com with the goal to educate, strengthen, and inspire. Okay, there you have it. Some key considerations you need to think about if you're deciding to enlist in the military or get a commission as an officer. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and to forward to a friend who needs to know this. Life is a special operation. Are you ready for it?